Soccer season rolling on. We've got sidekicks for you. And a substitution this week. No Chris Black, but his sidekick on our BCSN broadcast, Mason Lowry, is with us. Mason, thank you so much for joining us. Let's start on the college side. You guys have had the opportunity to call a few Toledo games. Only 4 games into the season, but they have not lost. Looking more potent than they did in spring.
Yeah, it's their best start as a program since 1997, the last time they went 4 games unbeaten to open a campaign. And you're right when you say that. And really, you can go back even further because this is a Toledo program that won the MAC championship in 2017, and it's been really tough sledding since then. They've had a lot of really young teams that haven't always improved in the way that people around the program maybe expected them to. But I tell you what, this group has 2 things that the last couple of seasons haven't really shown, and that's that they have pace all over the field and they've got a ton of depth. Especially in the spring, they dealt with constant injury trouble. At one point, I think half of the intended starting 11 from the spring had season-ending injuries. So they've got a nice mix of youth and experience right now, and it's nice because you might have 2 freshman center backs, which they do have, but you have a veteran goalkeeper in Emma Butterwick, and you have upperclassmen at right and left back, and 2 really good senior midfielders. This is a group that was picked 11th out of 12 in the Mid-American Conference preseason poll. It's a group that's going to be punching way above its weight this year, I have a feeling.
Over on the high school side, you had a fun call the other night. I love a good trophy game. The Golden Boot between Clay and Whitmer, that trophy is staying in Oregon. What stood out to you?
Zach Sonkrant, their head coach, has done an outstanding job with this program. I remember when I started calling soccer games at BCSN. This is all the way back in 2012. They weren't really a going concern. They weren't winning games. They weren't competitive all the time. They've built such a pipeline from the area clubs to the high school. It's really, really paying off for them. They lost their top goal scorer from last year in Keegan Calkins, who scored 17 times. But Zach Wells is back, and he's dropping into a midfield role. He's so strong and powerful, really good on the ball. Angelo Kataya is back, and he is just nothing but blinding pace out on the left wing. He can score for himself and create for others. And they've added a couple of really talented guys in midfield, too. Christian Mays, how about this? I love a guy like this. Comes over from the football team, decides, I want to give soccer a crack again. He had played in junior high. Actually, he had been coached by Zach Sonkrant when he was in 8th grade. And they brought in a kid by the name of Rossi Ruiz. Get to know that name. He's a sophomore. He played full-time club soccer in Cleveland last year. He's something special.
I know you're excited about the game you get to call tomorrow. Findlay and Ottawa Hills, they've both looked great so far. What are some of the keys?
Well, for Findlay, they play on such a big natural surface. Ottawa Hills plays on a very narrow turf surface, so Findlay is kind of purpose-built to play at home. Ottawa Hills, for me, is maybe the best boys soccer team in the area pound for pound. Remember, this is a group that got to the state Final Four last year with 1 senior, starting a ton of underclassmen. They bring back Walker Kite, who is an outstanding natural goal scorer, one of the best in Northwest Ohio. Truman Talbot is a multi-year starter in goal. Elijah Shetterly is healthy again, too. That's another name to remember. He transferred from Emmanuel Christian last year, almost immediately blew out his knee. He's back and healthy this year. I know he's able to add to that attacking line. Adam Ayad and Danny Yossi, we know what they're like. Will Bursch back at the back. It's a group of guys that have been together for like 2, 3, 4 years. And Findlay has to adapt because they lost a bunch of talent from last year, especially Carson Dale, who scored that famous winning goal against St. John's in the district tournament last year. Andrew Alsop is back, though. It should be a really fun contrast of styles.
Always great to talk to Mason Lowry. Thank you so much for joining us this week.
Thank you. Always a pleasure.